Welcome back. In this video, we are going to see about how to create Spring Boot RESTful API. And also we are going to see about how to access that RESTful API using another Spring application. It is like a simple microservice. Go to the STC and file, new, create Spring Starter project. Here I am going to give the name as student service. And using the default location, Maven type and jar packaging, Java version is 17 and language is Java. Then I am not editing anything. Then click next. Here I am going to choose Spring Web. You can choose from here also, or else you can search here Spring Web. See here. Here also we can choose that. Then click finish. The project is building, generated, and here we have student service. This is our project structure. In that we have com.example package. In that I am going to create new package com.example.model. Finish. In that model package, I am going to create a model class student. Then click finish. Here I am going to create a fields. Here we have the fields ID, name, department, year, and we have constructor, non-parameterized constructor, and also we have the parameterized constructor for initializing the value during the object creation. Then after that, right click on that source, generate getters address. We have to choose all the fields, so that select all and then click generate. Getter setter methods are generated. Next, right click on the com.example package, then new package com.example.controller. Click finish. Inside that, I'm going to create a class student controller class. We have to decorate with the annotation REST controller. In previous example, we have created the controller, but it is a RESTful API, so that we have to use the annotation at REST controller. Then we are using the annotation request mapping. We are specifying the root API, that means endpoint for this controller /API/students. Then inside that we have to add code. Then we have to import needed package to remove the errors. Map java.util, then student model class, then hash map from the java.util. We have to remove that bracket. Then we have to import the get mapping annotation org.spring framework. Then in collection, then we have to import for the path variable. Then for post mapping, we have to choose org.springframework.web. Then we have to import the request body also. Then for edit mapping, org.spring framework, all the errors are removed now. Here we are not using the database, we are using the in-memory. By using the hash map, we are storing the student details as a in-memory storage, as a key value pair, key as a integer and value as a student. In the constructor, we are going to initializing the two students. In get mapping, we are returning all the students by using the student db.values so that it will return all the student details as the JSON. Then in the get mapping /id, we are retrieving the particular students based on that ID. That ID is the path variable. That ID will be added in the root endpoint, that is /API/student/ID. That ID will be retrieved from the path variable. Then that will be stored in the ID. Then we are returning the student db.get ID so that that particular ID student object is written as the response. Then post mapping, we are adding the new students in the request body by using the at request body annotation. We are receiving the student data from the user request that will be stored in the S as a student type. Then we are calling the student db.put method so that we are adding the student to the hash map by using the s.getId as a key, then s as a value. Then we are returning the value s so that new student added will be written as a response. Then we are having the at edit mapping by using the /id so that the endpoint will be API/student/id. That ID will be retrieved by using the path variable that will be stored in the ID. Then we are removing the element by using the student db object, student db dot remove by that ID. After that, we are returning a string student with that ID. Particular ID will be deleted as a response. Okay. Now we have to add the port number for this application. That is, just type port. You can choose server.port equal to 8084. Save the file. And we have some error in student controller. Just save the file. All the errors are gone. We are not adding any UI so that this RESTful API will be tested by some API testers like Postman, Swagger. Right click on our project, run as Spring Boot application. Our project is started. Now go to the Postman. Here I am going to use the URL http://localhost:8084 /API/students. Okay, this is 84. Then we can click send. See here, we have two data in our in memory. That data will be sent by the controller. We are getting in the Postman. Now I am going to retrieve the student by the ID by adding /2 in the endpoint. Then click send. See here, we are getting the student having the ID 2 is retrieved and sent by the controller as a response. Okay. Here we have the HTTP methods. In normal browser, we cannot do it. In API tester, we can request the APIs by using these HTTP methods. Now I'm going to select the post so that I'm going to adding the new student. Here I'm copying this format and using the post, we have to pass the data to the request body. Okay, now I'm removing the /2. In the body section, we can add the data as a raw and type as JSON. Here we can choose any type, but we are sending the request by the JSON data. Just pasting here. Then I'm going to modify the data. We have to pass as a JSON so that I have copied from there and pasted here. Now ID is 3. Then instead of Priya, I'm going to pass Deva as a student name. Then department, I'm going to give it as EEE. Then send, click send. See here. Now the response is came from the controller. Which student is newly added, that student is returned from that controller. Okay. Now I'm going to select the get method and using the endpoint API/students and click send. Our three student data are returned from the controller. See here. Now go to the STC. We are going to create another Spring Boot application to access this RESTful API. For that, file new Spring Starter project. Here I am going to give the name as client service. Then using the default location, choosing the type as Maven and packaging is jar and Java version is 17. Then language is Java. Then I'm not editing anything. Just click next. Here I'm going to choose Spring Web. Just type web. Here we can choose Spring Web. Okay, only one dependency we are going to add. Our project is built-in and also added in the Explorer. Client service. This is our project. Inside the com.example, I'm going to create a new package. com.example.model. Finish. Then inside that, I'm going to create a new class. Name as student. Finish. Now I'm going to add code to this student class. These are our fields. Then right click here, source, generate, getter setters. Then choose all the fields by select all option. Then click generate. Getter setter methods are added. Now inside the com.example, I'm going to create another package for controller. Package name is com.example.controller. Finish. Then inside the package, I'm going to create a new class. Name as client controller. Then click finish. We have to make this class as a RESTful API so that we have to use the annotation at REST controller. Just type at REST control space. Okay, next we have to add the request mapping at REQ control space. Inside that, we have to specify the root URL or endpoint inside the quotation /client. Inside that, I'm going to add code. These are our controller code. We have to import the value. Okay. Then REST template. next list, next student, then for array, then we have to import for the get mapping also, save the file. For the get mapping, the endpoint is in the request mapping, we have slash client. In the get mapping, we have specified slash student so that the endpoint is slash client slash students. This will be the endpoint for this get mapping. By using the at value, we are getting the student.service.url, that is previous student service URL, localhost colon 8084. For that, I'm going to paste here student.service.url equal to, we have to specify that URL. We can choose from the postman, go to the postman. Here we can select this URL and paste here. Then we have to add the port number, port server.port equal to, for previous project we have used 8084. For the client service we have to use 8085 because both the applications should run simultaneously. We should not have same port number. We should run in the different port numbers. For student service we are using 8084. For client service we are using 8085. That URL will be stored in the student service URL variable as a string type. Then we are creating the REST template for accessing the RESTful APIs. Then by using the slash client slash student, the controller will execute the get students from student service method. Then we are creating the variable students, array of students equal to REST template dot get for object. Here we are passing the student service URL. Then we are specifying the which type of data will be sent by the array of student dot class. Then we are returning that response that is stored in the students. Return arrays dot as a list. We are passing that student so that list of student will be sent as a response from this controller to the user. We will receive as a JSON result. Now go to this project client service, then run as Spring Boot app. Now the second application also started. Both applications are running. Now I am going to change this port number as 8085. The endpoint is slash client slash students. By using get method, we are going to retrieve this URL client slash students. Then click send. See here, we have 3 students in our in memory. Those 3 students are sent by the client service. Okay. Likewise, we can perform update, delete operation also. Try this example in your side, and if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Thank you, everyone.